Welcome to Undiet Your Coaching Podcast. I'm Stephanie Dodier, clinical nutritionist and creator of the Going to Beyond the Food method, and I'm on a mission to help all coaches undiet their life and their coaching business. Ready? Let's do this. Welcome back, my dear colleague. This is going to be Q&A series, part number 2. If you haven't listened to part number 1 yet, you may want to stop this podcast, move up to episode 63. And a reminder, this is a extract from our live coaching event that we held in mid-November 2022. And I've picked up some extract where I answer some of the main questions that our student had in attendance to our training events. Now, today we're going to talk about coaching and the number one trend that I see in our industry and how to coach that trend. And also, I'm going to talk about the impact of knowing how to coach yourself, how to do what we call self-coaching in your business. And I'm going to talk about it from 2 different angles, from the quote-unquote guru mentality that I see in the way people approach their business and the impact of your own thought errors in your marketing, and also in things like determining your pricing. And I'm also going to share how I teach and coach about pricing with my students. So there's going to be both a blend of coaching and business, which is all my teaching are perfused with both, because we can't separate building a business from coaching. But what is most impactful about all of our training program is that we apply what we do with our client to ourselves and the way we build our business. And that's how we become in full alignment between our personal value and our professional value. And from there, you get to build a business with safety, with trust, with fun, with pleasure, and you build the life that you want while helping other people. And that is done through alignment. And when you do that, marketing, what we do, becomes so easy because you don't feel conflicted. You don't have ruminating thoughts. You don't have doubts. You don't have fear. It's such a beautiful process. If you want to experience it, we have the Get More Client 1-day intensive training events. If you're listening live, it's coming up on December the 4th. And we also have an ongoing number 1 container, which is a non-diet mentorship, where you spend 6 months in a very small group coaching program with me. And we're currently enrolling for cohort number 7. So with that in mind, I'm going to get my team to roll in part 2. And then in podcast 65, we will give you the last part 3. Enjoy and take a lot of note and infuse yourself with that knowledge. Today, we are going to answer some question. It's a question that was submitted a number of days ago. And it's about health. The person asked, I am part of the under 30 group. So a few days ago, I was talking about how one of the trends that I'm observing is that people are more focused, like people under 30. I'm seeing them come in with more healthism than diet culture and the thin ideal, where people are accepting of different body size because that they were raised with that. And what is creating a disordered eating is the relationship to health. Okay. So the person asked, I find that we are very marketed with facts and science, and it's very ingrained into us. How to approach healthism without trying to disprove the fact that they learned. For example, being overweight causes certain disease. Before I go into coaching you on that particular question, I just want to clarify that healthism is not about excess weight. That's fat phobia. Okay? Healthism is when somebody's worth as a human being is tied into their health status or their effort towards health status. So I think yesterday I answered a question around autoimmune condition. Like that would be healthism, or people that are in about that meat is dangerous for you, gluten, dairy restriction, detoxing, 3-hour morning routine, meditation, breathing, journaling, doing all the things. That is more healthism, where efforts are deployed, including food, but not restricted to food, towards achieving a health status. What you put in your question is fat phobia, where the size of the body of a person is associated with health. That's fat phobia. But I'm going to answer it as if it was either fat phobia or healthism. The first place I want to start coaching is on you and your own brain. The reason why I'm saying this is because when we talked about creating money, we talked about marketing. I said that marketing that is built around science and facts lands into our audience as convincing, right? And people buy what they want, not what they need, right? So you took that piece of information, these words that I said, and then you applied your thought error, and I'm putting my glasses on because that's the way that I teach it. A thought error, this is something we teach in a coaching track of the non-diet mentorship. A thought error is like a pair of glasses you put on every morning, and it's a filter through which you see life. That particular thought error, that filter through which you took on the information I gave you, is the black and white thinking or all or nothing thinking. Or it's either or one or the other, right? This thought error is one of the 4 main thought errors of brains that have been socialized and indoctrinated into diet culture. So it's no surprising to me that you're presenting to me with black and white thinking. And by the way, it's probably 95% of the people listening to this recording. You may not know this, but you have a thought error of black and white thinking. It's the small exception of my students that do not have this thought error, just because of the indoctrination to diet culture. So black and white thinking is the lenses through which you see life, that it's either one or the other. And that's what you did right now. You took the information that I said to you and you're like, okay, I can never talk about science. I can never talk about factual information anymore. It is just the other way. That's not how life works. It's never one or the other. It's always in the middle. It's always the gray zone. That's the solution. The solution is first to have a coach that shows you your brain, just like I just did right now, and shows you how you're thinking. And then, if you consent, you want to look at how can you look at what I said and go in the middle. It's not about not using science and not using factual information. It's about how are you presenting it to people? What's your energy? What is your own thoughts and your own emotion? What is your model when you create a piece of content with science? Are you trying to convince people this is the right way? Or are you telling a story? In the non-diet mentorship program, we talk about confident messaging, right? Our marketing messaging is to create confidence in us and into people, and we use storytelling, or at least I'm suggesting to you to use storytelling. So what if you wrap the science But the information, the factual information, and a beautiful story that would land into people reading your content from an emotional standpoint. You would connect to them by telling a story, their story about you, story about someone in your life or a client of yours. You would connect emotionally with them. And you would not only give them the fact, that would be a small percentage of your post, but you would inspire them into the next step by painting the picture of what life could be if they didn't have this obsession with this false information. That's confident messaging. That's authentic marketing. So it's not about one or the other. It's about how can you do both at the same time. Now, I want to talk about another aspect of this, which is to trust yourself. So we talked about black and white thinking. Now I want to make an analogy for all of you guys to see, which is when you did your journey with food, when you move from restricting and controlling to become an intuitive eater, the path from one end to the other has been to learn to trust yourself. What would happen if you trust yourself with your business? What if you use the analogy of food and your journey with food from trusting the guru or the expert, trusting me, the guru of the expert of business, and you gradually move into trusting yourself with your business? What would that look like? What if you had the intentional thought, I know how, I know the how, I know what's right for me? What if you filtered your decision about your business with the thought, I know the how, let me check in with me? How does that feel? How does that land with me? What do I think about that? That's the goal in how I teach business, is not about you following the rules of Stephanie and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Stephanie, is that you extend your ability to trust yourself that you built with food and body into your business. That you start trusting yourself, that you start believing that you know what's right for you in your business without me. Okay, that was a long question, a long answer for me. I'm going to go into the next question, which is along the line of the first question, which is about fact and science with healthism. This person asked, my client is experiencing guilt around not doing everything that she can to be healthy. How can I coach her through this? Great question. We're going to go right back to what I gave you on Monday, the Unbiased Coaching Protocol, and we're going to put that client's request for help through that. So the circumstance, the neutral circumstance of that situation with your client is health. Okay? They're having a bunch of thoughts that creates the emotion of guilt. So you've got guilt, you've got the neutral circumstance, and then your next move, if the client was there, was to ask question to fill in the blank so you can build the model of what's happening for them. And then you can share that with them and show that to them. So the next question you could ask your client is, tell me more. Tell me more. Why do you think you feel guilty? Tell me more about what you think of health. Tell me more about what health means about you. Tell me more of how you're interacting with health. These are all different questions you can ask, and the goal, you wouldn't ask all the 4 questions. You would pick one at a time and you would see what your client give you. The goal in those questions is for you to have them tell you the thoughts that they have in their brain that creates the guilt, because we know all emotions are created by our thoughts. And one of the thoughts that this person probably has is, quote, I have to do everything I need to be healthy. And I'm not. For whatever reason, they're believing they need to do everything, they need to be healthy, but for whatever reason, they don't. And I'm assuming as a coach, you know why, or at least you would ask as to why this is happening in their life. So this thought comes from the belief system of healthism. This is a pure case of healthism where the words, the value of this human is tied up around their health status and their effort around achieving the health status, right? So I see that often with chronic health condition, with diabetes, for an example. People who get diagnosed with diabetes, the first reaction is, holy shit, what did I do wrong? Holy shit, what are people going to think? Right? Because in their head, chronic condition diabetes mean that they're bad, that they did something wrong with their health, that they are a bad eater and they eat sugar all the time and sugar is bad for you and blah, right? This is like, they can give me thoughts for like 20 minutes nonstop. Or the second stage is they accept that they have diabetes, but they can't control it, right? No matter what they try, they can't do enough to control their diabetes, right? So that's pure healthism. So one of the belief system that your client is co-opting is healthism. Not their fault, totally normal. So go through the process of normalization because that's how they were raised by their family, probably. You would ask them, where did you learn that? And they would say probably to you, like we were taught that in school, we were taught that at the doctor's office, and they would tell you everywhere they've learned that. And that would be step one, like understanding their model, how they're acting, feeling, and thinking, and then you would show it to them. So when you think that, you feel this way, you act this way, and that creates the reality that you're not worthy unless you're healthy. Do you want to continue to live this reality with your health? I probably would tell you no. Right. So if you want to change the way you're experiencing health, we're going to have to look at thinking and believing different things about health. And then that would open the door for you to talk about belief system and healthism and what other ways of thinking about health they can think about. Now, you have to know another way of thinking, right? And you're going to propose that to them and you're going to coach them until this new belief and this new thought becomes a reality for them. Remember the 3 phases of coaching. You see, it's not complicated. It's very simple. Once you possess the coaching process and it's embedded in your DNA because you live it and you breathe it every day, you can coach anything. Like, I'm not looking at a sheet right now. It's just because that's how I interact with myself. So it's very easy for me to be able to help you in that way because I live it and breathe it. That's the process that we teach you to do, and we coach you how to do that in the non-diet mentorship program. When you leave these 6 months, the coaching process is embedded into you because everything we do, we go back to coaching all the time. Okay, next question. We're going to talk about determining pricing. I need your help with pricing. This is my very first time creating a coaching offer, and I'm at loss as to what to charge. Guess what I'm going to do first? I'm going to coach you. Before giving you my advice, my thoughts on pricing, I am going to coach your brain. So here's what's happening. In the neutral circumstance of pricing your offer, determining the pricing of your offer, you're having a bunch of thoughts that creates the feeling of lost, stuck, despair. What are you thinking that creates you feeling lost and stuck? Now, I don't have you with me, so I'm going to have to project some of the thoughts that my past student have had, just to help you see how you're creating lost. Many people, when it comes to pricing, believe that their financial safety as a human is determined by how much money they charge for their program, aka how much money they make. And because financial safety is a basic human need, we all are wired to be financially safe because that's how we buy food, that's how we get shelter, that money in today's world buys all of our basic needs. So if you feel financially unsafe, it will dramatically change and alter the way you think about your pricing. So my first question to you is this: are you financially safe? And if you are not, pause your coaching career, go get a job or a way of making money that's going to bring you into financial safety. Probably not going to be rich, but enough to buy and cover all your basic needs. And then unpause your coaching career and start building your business. Never build a business, no matter which business it is, feeling unsafe about money, because you're going to make bad decisions. Okay? So check in on your financial safety. The second thought that will help you with pricing is that your price doesn't determine your worth. How much you charge for your program has nothing to do with your worth as a coach or your worth as a human being. Pricing is a tool. Pricing is a tool for you to create result in your business. It's a lever that you pull based on what you need to do in your business. Given that you said to me, this is my first time creating a coaching offer, I will assume that one of your need is to have clients. Not because you just want to make money, but because you need to create experience. You need to practice. You need to be exposed to like dozens and dozens and dozens of clients to become an expert at coaching. Okay? Therefore, your pricing based on your ideal client needs to be in alignment to create a lot of yeses. Okay, so I will assume you have an average client who makes an average amount of money. They're not professional, they're just average people. You probably want to gear towards a very accessible pricing. So the pricing is not a barrier for people to say yes to come on a consultation with you, to say yes to working with you. And what that does is that gives you dozens of clients to work with in the next year, 2 years. And then you're just going to build your skill set at coaching, at intuitive eating, at body image, at interacting with clients, and all the things are going to go wrong. You're going to build your experience with a pricing that will not be a barrier for a lot of people. Then you can increase your pricing. Now, for those of you who have been in business, and the question may be, so when do I decide to increase my pricing? Great question. Here's my thoughts. Not a fact, a thought. Here's a thought. When you increase your pricing, your demand will reduce. What's the demand? Is the amount of people who say yes to you. So be aware. When you increase your pricing, you should be in a position to see people say no to you and you being totally okay with that. Meaning you have a full coaching practice that gives you the money you need to live your life. You increase your pricing, less people say yes to working with you, and you're just on the rotation. A client leave, this next person comes in, client leave, the next person comes in. You don't need 12 clients to come in. You just need to replace 1 or 2 clients a month to maintain your roster of 10 coaching clients. When you have a full roster of coaching clients, that's when you increase your pricing, because you will have more no's and you're totally okay with that. Increasing your pricing will reduce the demand. Decreasing your pricing will increase the demand. Basic one-on-one business. This is like from my years in retail. It doesn't change in the coaching world. It's just the law of demand. Okay? So that's my thoughts for you on pricing. Ready to shed diet culture from your practice and help more clients do the same? Awesome. We've got free resources to get you started. Simply go to stephaniedodier.com/pro series, all in one word, and access our 3 free training classes that are currently available. We also have a free PDF guide to intuitive eating, an article about the non-diet approach. We also offer a variety of paid programs throughout the year to support you in your journey to undiet your coaching practice. Join us at stephaniedodier.com/pro series, and I'll see you on the other side.